Good morning. My name is Richard Candia. I'm a realtor with Avanti Way, a board member with the South-Dade Chamber of Commerce, and this is the South-Dade Shout Out. This is where we introduce you to business owners, to advocates, to community leaders that help make South-Dade a great place to live, work, play, and thrive. And today, we are finally here with my friend Frank Rosa. Frank is a co-founder of Solar Partners.
Florida Solar Partners.
Florida Solar Partners. I'll get that right. How many times have we done this?
I know.
And we're going to talk about all things solar.
Absolutely. 100%.
Frank, welcome. Nice to see you. Nice to talk to you. I've enjoyed our conversation coming up till Rochelle has counted us in. I've got a ton of questions.
I bet.
And and it's interesting. Solar energy, where people are actually using solar energy in their homes, that's changed in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think the atmosphere is more welcoming to solar now than it has been in the past. And Florida really has fallen behind when it comes on to solar energy.
Why is that?
Because the Sunshine State has really had great rates so far, but that's been changing, you know. Like states like California, Arizona, Nevada, they're at least a decade ahead of all of us, but that's okay. That's okay, because now Florida's really starting to catch up. And you know what? Floridians are very, very smart, and they're very savvy. They really are doing their homework. And over the last couple of years, I've seen a great increase in the interest in solar energy. And it's only going to get better from now. Listen, like I always tell everybody, there is a rover right now in Mars floating around, taking pictures, sending them to Earth using solar energy. So if it's good enough for NASA, it's good enough for you, Floridians.
Okay, we're trying out that. I think that's going to work. I think that's going to be a nice little. So to your point, and I'm sorry that I'm reading this, but just yesterday or 2 days ago, the Public Service Commission reported that I'm quoting, the customer-based renewable installations had increased 31% year over year, 31%, and that the capacity for each of those installations has also gone up significantly. So that kind of just echoes what you just told me before.
Yeah, exactly. There is a movement, but the other thing is this: a lot of people were not very knowledgeable about the benefits and the credits that are available at the federal level. So the ITC credit, which stands for Investment Tax Credit, it's at the federal level. It's 30% of the value of your solar system.
Well, hold on, before we go into there, because we're going to lead into that.
Right.
In the 31% increase overall statewide, how do you think South Florida is representing in those numbers? Have you seen an increase?
I've seen a small increase.
Okay.
I've seen a small increase. And one of the reasons also, Miami-Dade County and Monroe, Broward, we have some of the most stringent regulations regarding hurricanes, right? So the permitting process, it's a little slower than you would say anywhere north of Broward and Palm Beach. There, some of those permitting, like for example in Lee County, which is Collier in Lee County, their permitting process is maybe 4 weeks. You know, here is a lot longer than that. So
you know, it's funny, in all the practice that we had coming up to this,
yes,
I hadn't even thought about that. I would think that now the panel manufacturers are knowing that we have such strict regulations, are making them to meet those regulations, no?
Yeah, they are. They are. Actually, we prefer the panels are called Aptos. Aptos are designed to withstand 200-mile-an-hour winds. That's more than a Category 5.
Sure.
So that's what we use here in South Florida most of the time in all of our projects, because it's like a layer of protection. A lot of people don't realize, but two things. The panels are receiving all the UV rays from the sun. So that actually takes all the heat away from your attic, making your home a little cooler, keeping your energy levels usage lower. So it's a lot of people that tell me, one of the things, the myths I talk about all the time. I do presentations and it's like 5 myths. One of them is a hurricane coming and my solar panel's going to fly off. No, think about it. It's a metal structure on the trusses of your roof.
Okay, so
that reinforces a roof.
When you speak to somebody that has such a passion for the work, it's really, really hard to stay, because there's so many things to talk about. So I'm making a mental note of things to ask you. Let's go into what you were touching on earlier about the financial benefits, some of the tax credits that a homeowner, let's talk about homeowners installing renewable solutions.
So yes, there is an ITC credit, which is, again, investment tax credit at the federal level of 30% of the value of the investment on your solar system.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I always try to tell my potential customers, this is the difference between renting and owning. You know, when you rent, every month you write that check, it's going to someone else's pocket. Here, when you go solar, you're making an investment on your property.
Mm-hmm.
So Department of Energy has already stated that it helps increase the value of your home by 4%. But you're purchasing that unit. It's like adding a pool. You just added a pool to your home. That just increased the value of your home, and it belongs to you.
Sure.
You know, this is the same exact thing. You will own your solar system, so you'll eventually have your own little power plant on the roof of your home producing energy.
Right.
You know, and it's a win-win all across the board.
Okay, so to focus again on the benefits, there's a significant tax write-off that I can put in immediately, or do I spread it over the life of the?
You can do it immediately, or you can do it the life of the ITC credit is until 2031.
Oh,
okay. So you have the next 9 years, and you can actually retro it one if you wanted to.
Okay.
So there's a tremendous advantage there, especially if you're someone that's paying a lot in taxes.
The added benefit I didn't even think about keeping your attic cool, because that one's the panels are absorbing all the heat.
Right.
And it actually makes the roof stronger because it's kind of holding everything down?
So the attachment is on the trusses of the roof, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the wooden structure holding your roof together.
Sure.
Just imagine you just put a layer of metal on top of that wood.
Ah.
What would that do?
Okay.
Completely reinforce it, make it stronger. If you go to our website, there's a before and after picture. We did installation in Fort Myers on September 19th, 2022,
Oof.
2 weeks before Ian hit.
Yeah.
You see the before and after pictures, there's no damage to the roof. There's pictures of the neighbor houses, and their roofs are destroyed because of that extra strength added to our roof. I challenge you, go to our website, take a look at it. You see the before and after. You see the only difference you see in the after picture is the homeowner happens to be a roofer. So when the picture shows a ladder,
good, right?
a ladder to the top to see the roof to the house. The guy was calling us frantic. He was like, he could not believe it. He couldn't believe that he actually went and stayed at the Hard Rock for the week for the hurricane, and when he came back, he just couldn't believe it. All the debris and everything in the neighborhood, his house was the only one with no damage. And it's, you know, who's to say if it hits
sure.
a tornado or something like that? That's a different story, but take a look at it.
So on cue, Rachel is, of course, putting the website below me. Did I do this correctly? Look at that. That's good. That leads me, though, to some of the drawbacks and, as you said, some of the myths that people attach to having solar panels on your home. Let me ask you a couple of questions. If I purchase, I call you and we get you sell me all the equipment, I purchase it. Am I tied to you in any way? Is there a way that you can come and maintain? Is there any maintenance that I need to do?
There's really no maintenance at all, and then the panels are all warranty for 25 years, and so does a lot of the material and labor we guarantee. But the other thing is this: one of the things that everybody asks me is, "Oh, well, do you have to go up there and clean them?" A good South Florida thunderstorm cleans them all. It's like a car wash.
It's funny.
There's no need to go up there and cleaning anything, you know. So and that's the one thing that is also a challenge is if there's too much tree coverage, the trees will cover the panels, and then the efficiency won't be as much. So I'm working with a hotel now in Key Largo, and they do have a lot of trees. So we ended up having to size the system in two different ways. One is, here's what it looks like with the trees being trimmed. This is what it looks like without trimming the trees.
Sure.
So it's like a 25-30% increase in size because of the tree coverage. So that's one thing.
Weather dependency. The myth is that cloud covers. I have a couple of cloudy days in a row.
Not really.
No?
Not really. I'll tell you the truth. There's a lot of. I went to visit a friend in Maine, and Maine, there was a lot of solar everywhere. But think about it; those guys don't handle thunderstorms; they handle blizzards.
Well, that's a great point, because Florida and Arizona are the two states that have the most sun, more sun days in the calendar.
In the calendar year, yes.
And California's not one of them.
No.
New York's not one of them.
Nope.
And those have much more.
Maine, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all the northeastern states.
Interesting.
They have to deal with blizzards, and they have solar everywhere. They're probably maybe 10 times more solar than we are here in Florida. Okay. We're the sunshine state.
We're just knocking these myths out of the way one by one. Energy storage limitations. That used to be a big thing, certainly 10 years ago when the technology just wasn't there.
Right.
Where are we at on that?
Oh, the improvements are coming daily.
Daily.
Huh? I mean, I'm telling you.
I have a question here to ask you about the technology changes going back 5 years. That's too long, isn't it?
It is. It is. Yeah. Right now, I think, let's say 5 years ago, the largest panel was 250 watts. Right, kilowatt hours, 250.
What is that?
The ones that we're using right now is 440.
Okay.
So it's almost doubled in capacity for the same size. So you think about it, it's getting stronger, smaller.
Sure.
Which is like what technology happens. Like evolution. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Even though cell phones are getting bigger now.
Yeah.
But the storage, the energy storage. So what happens to me at night?
So to make it very clear, another myth, right? If you have a solar system by itself without a battery backup and there's a power outage, you're out of power as well because you're connected to the grid only. If you have a battery backup, when the grid goes down, it turns on that battery and you will have power. We have some great customers in Tavernier, and not too long ago, the Keys are struggling with their power. You know, the grid is under a lot of stress because they can't build it anymore. Sure. The house is continuing to be being built. It's growing everywhere, but the grid can't. I have a great relationship with actually the director of governance over at FKEC, the Florida Keys Electric Co-op. And we communicate all the time. Every time I have something new in technology, I always send it to her because they're always looking for assistance. But my point is, if you have that battery backup, the house in Tavernier, not too long ago on a Saturday, 9 o'clock at night, the whole block lost power. This family didn't even know. The only way they noticed is because their neighbor came knocking on the door asking them why they had power.
Gotcha.
You know, because the battery backup. But again,
that battery backup is good for 12 hours.
It could last all night, the 12 hours, and then it recharges the next day when the sun comes up.
Yeah.
And some of these batteries could go to 20 cycles, 20,000 cycles. I'm sorry. So 15 years worth of energy. And again, the technology continues to improve. So what normally happens, you know, batteries this big and now is getting more efficient and shrinking. Sure. You know, we have some great relationship with some of the battery backup companies, and I always love to get their updated stuff. You know,
and for some of our more altruistic viewers, if you want to do something good for the environment, obviously the solar makes sense, but it's bigger than that. If enough people do that, then the grid, we don't have to build another power plant. Everything becomes more efficient. Everybody on the system becomes more efficient. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, I go back to my relationship with the Keys. We have a great communication between us because they want us to putting more solar out there.
That's a great point.
Because it takes away stress from the grid, you know. And then what's happening is a lot of blackouts and grayouts, you know. Blackout is when it's out for a few hours. Grayouts is when it comes in and it shuts down for like 10, 15 minutes, you know. Sure. But the more that happens, you got to remember something. There's when the power is coming back in, it causes stress on all of your equipment, everything at home, your refrigerators, your dryer, washer and dryer, all of that.
My wine refrigerator.
Wine refrigerator, that takes a hit, you know? I mean, we wouldn't want that to go down.
No.
But the thing is, when that happens, it starts to beat up your equipment. So that means the life expectancy of your refrigerator goes down. And all appliances, you know? And
another myth, not really a myth, the panels are unattractive.
That's really the only one thing that I really don't have much of a rebuttal. Some of them are actually getting really, really high tech where, for example, one of the ones that we use, Aptos, they connect and they're black on black. So you don't see the little grade, the whole box looking thing. No, it looks like a really cool black layer right over the roof. But aside from that, we have other technologies. We just recently signed on to be able to install what's called a helio wing. The coolest thing, I got to send you the information on it, and it's like a old school, like a transformer, right?
Mm-hmm.
It comes in a kit, and it's an actual carport. So you open up the kit and it starts building right up like that, and you create a carport, and it has a charging station right on it. And that particular unit, it could be completely off the grid.
That's cool.
So you can put it anywhere you want to. You don't want it on your roof, but you just put a cool carport in front of your house that it will be the marquee and the sign, and it's commercial grade and residential grade. Like I said, the technology is changing, and it's getting really, really cool and interesting out there.
You this is with no study or no review on my part. I just thought before we were gearing up to meet today that the popularity of electric vehicles has kind of helped everybody go into a mentality of what else can I do, or what else is available to me.
Right.
So renewable energy. Can you imagine if you have a renewable energy and you're charging your car with solar power? That's costing you nothing.
That's awesome.
Zero, right?
That is, I call it the Tesla factor, okay? And what I mean by that is I recommend everybody go solar first and then get the EV charging, or the vehicle, get the electric, whatever car you like the best.
Yeah.
But use solar energy to power those cars, because what you're doing now is you're still connecting to the grid to charge your vehicle, and your electricity bill just went up.
Sure.
They require electricity. And if it's taking you 8 to 12 hours to charge that car, what is it doing to your electric bill? So if your goal is environmental, you're just using fossil fuels to charge it by electricity. Mm-hmm. That's not making any sense. It's like backwards, right?
Well, but I was just getting back to the appreciation and the embracing of the whole situation. I think EVs have made, and they're everywhere now, right?
Yeah, they're everywhere. I just found that interesting. I think South Florida is one of the top markets in purchasing EVs nationwide. I think it's either number 1 or number 2.
No, it's like 3 or 4, but still, it's
still up there.
Yeah.
But the charging stations are not catching up.
No, but
it's getting interesting, because I know been talking to Freebie, and they're looking to expand to the Keys. They actually started their first freebie rides in Key West.
Oh wow!
They have seven vehicles over there, but anywhere in between the Upper Keys and Key West, they're very few and far between charging stations. So what do you do?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm starting to really promote the Helio Wing, because of the practicality and where you can put these stations, and you don't have to be connected to the grid.
Very cool. That's very
really cool technology.
So let's talk about you and the business. The reason we're here. You've been very, very kind in giving everybody information about the industry and about the opportunities. But let's talk about Florida Solar. When did you co-found it? Who was your partner?
Right.
And give me some tips. Big question. Give me some tips. Why, as a consumer, I should work with Florida Solar partners, or what should I look for when I'm considering putting panels? So what should I look for in a company such as yours?
Well, the background on the company, first of all, it's funny. My background has been in sales and sales development, sales training. I used to build call rooms and train a lot of salespeople over my life. Mm-hmm. And the way I train my people is I take care of those who take care of me. I take care of you first. All right. I want to put my time, effort in making sure that you're the best of the best. Every time I train a sales rep, I have them put in writing, I will become the best this industry's ever seen. And that's the motto to begin our sales process. Mm. So anyways, long story short, we train a bunch of guys. I have people in a lot of different states. So one of my guys eventually ended up moving to Nevada. Okay, started working in sales in Nevada years ago. And out of the blue one day, he calls me and says, "Hey, Frank, all right, I got your next big deal. I know you're going to love this." And I go, "All right, talk to me. He goes, "It's going to be solar." I go, "Solar?" I'm talking about now almost about 10 years ago. And I'm like, "All right, keep talking. I'm interested. He flew down from Nevada. We sat down. We had a meeting, and how he explained it to me, he said, "Listen, Florida is really far behind. Florida literally is virgin.
Great
you know,
market. Okay.
and it's like if you look, do the homework. At the time, solar energy in the state of Florida was around 5%, but only 1% was rooftop solar. The rest was utilities. Just like, so I have a market of 99% of a state like the Sunshine State. All right, this is a no-brainer. Let's go ahead. So my partner Seth, I took him with him. He also was one of the guys that I trained many years ago. Became very good friends, and then we were like, let's do this. Start doing the research. I'm more in the sales and the marketing brand. He is the technology guy. He loves it. Anything gadgets, that guy is all over it. Okay. So he went and started getting all the certifications and doing all the homework. And we've started selling for a different company at first. We didn't like their style. We didn't like the way they treated customers. So we decided in January of 2020 to open Florida Solar Partners.
Great timing.
Great timing, right, guys?
Fantastic.
We do our marketing is ready to go. Boom, COVID hits.
Yeah.
The whole idea of knocking on doors went out the door, you know? And from there, we just set back a little. He was doing public adjustment at the time. I was actually selling health insurance. And we kind of kept doing that in the meantime while building the brand in the name of Florida Solar Partners. And it took off from there.
Congratulations on that, and for sticking it out.
Yeah, no, we
a lot of good stories have come from COVID, actually.
I can tell you,
a lot of great stories.
I'm one of those.
So
I was doing Zoom presentations in my garage.
Here you go. My wife became really, really, really good at Zoom, like so many of us, right?
Yeah.
But that was a medium we just never thought you were going to use. What should a consumer look for when considering a company like yours or one of your?
One of the first things I always like is local. Stay local.
That makes sense.
Okay, and I say that with kind of like a pain in my heart, because I've gotten a lot of phone calls from people that have gone with companies that are out of state, and now they're having a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, and the sad part about that is this. I would love, even in some cases, I even sat down with the homeowner and read their contracts with them to see if we can find a way to help and give them the instructions on what to do to follow complaint or anything like that. But if another company does the installation for you, another company cannot come and touch that system. You know why? It voids all the warranties.
It's just like what happened after Andrew, and there we had to, because we didn't have enough roofers, enough handymen, enough.
Right.
But then out of state people, they can't.
And this
is kind of a personal thing. I feel like the solar industry. If
you're going to go solar, I will go someone local, someone that's been around for at least 3 to 4 years.
Any kind of special designations that they should have? You
want to make sure that they do, not only they do the front end, which is kind of like the sales and marketing piece, but they do the back end, which is the actual installation piece.
Gotcha.
So what happened, again, with some of those companies that came from out of state, they came in and knocked on tons of doors. They closed a lot of customers, but then they would leave the installation piece to a third party.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
That's a really, really good point. And Rachel, please, the website once again. I know Frank is you're a generous person. If somebody has any questions, they can call you and just ask questions about. I just want to comment on this. I don't want to. We've got 5 minutes but you were suggesting to me how cooperative all of you that are in this space are. You guys work together really, really well.
Yeah, we there's just so much business to be done out there the right way. I'd rather cooperate with the good guys and get the job done well. One thing, going back to the comment before, there's some companies out there that are offering leases. I'm completely against the lease process, because what happens with a lease? Okay, you never own the equipment, right? So compare the purchasing or leasing. always if you're going to make the investment, make the investment. If they're offering you something that sounds too good to be true, in most cases it is.
Like
so think about it. If something happens with the lease, once you attach that system to your roof, it becomes part of the dwelling of your home. You can't remove it. You know, you can't. So if you stop paying on the lease or something happens,
right,
you have a piece of equipment stuck to your roof that is not doing anything for you. That's not, to me, it's not right. And I want to make sure I give the warning, talk about the myths. Either buy it or don't do it.
Gotcha.
You know?
And you and your colleagues in the industry are not alone. Governor DeSantis vetoed a bill in 2022 that would have upended the industry. No?
Yeah, absolutely.
Net metering.
It would have destroyed net metering, which makes the transaction not worth it. So I'm very glad he vetoed it, because this is an industry that's going to generate probably hundreds of thousands of jobs for Florida. Okay, from the installing piece, all right, to engineering, to procurement, accounting, you name it.
And cost savings in and of itself also generate opportunities for you have to come back because we're running out of time, and I wanted to talk about the benefits to businesses to putting solar panels on.
It is amazing the kind of benefits that are available for a business to go solar. Right now, there's the accelerated depreciation. It's called MARCs, where they can write off within the first 5 years a majority of the entire investment.
Okay, and that's a huge point, because when I'm making the calculation as a homeowner, which is different than a business, but as a homeowner, I have to think about how long does it take me to pay back the investment. You know, was it worth my while?
Right.
Might not have been as worthwhile 10 years ago.
Correct.
But that's becoming.
It's more and more affordable.
And for the businesses, it's even more.
Exactly, because you still get the ITC credit of 30%, and then you have to accelerate depreciation. There is no sales tax, okay, and there is no property tax as well, because you can't add the value and the taxes. So you have tremendous advantages. And at the end of the day, think about it. I'm working with a local motorcycle company, right? They have I'm not going to mention the name, but it's a huge sales warehouse, and their bill is about $6,600 a month. Imagine just you depreciate it, you get the 30% ITC credit, and you're not paying that anymore. That's going in your pocket every month.
Pocket, yeah, man.
You're printing money.
Yeah,
and it should be illegal.
To that point, what is the next phase in this industry that you're so passionate about? What do you think is going to happen next?
I just see the technology improving and getting more high tech. I like the look of all the new technology coming out, like the one I just mentioned with the Helio Wing. That thing looks cool. It looks like out of space.
That's cool,
And then having those all over the place, where I would love to see, and it's going to happen in the near future, when driving down US 1, and everywhere you look, all these different strip malls with EV charging stations and walkways made with the solar panels, and again, it doesn't always have to go on the roof.
We were just talking about that. You were talking about there's a company that builds a vertical tower instead of a field of vertical. And I read where in Arizona, the canals, there's a bunch of canals, they're using those as solar fields.
Correct.
So you're not taking up any land, and you're still generating tons of.
No, we were talking about earlier too. If you drive by the airport, right, guys, in that lake that's right there, you see that floating thing, and that is a solar system on floating water. It's called aquavoltaic. Okay, so you can put it on a body of water.
That's fantastic.
And like I said, the technology is getting better and improving. You can put it on water, you can put it on towers, because there's so much money, many billions of dollars from the federal government going into all of these different green projects. The manufacturing is going to start growing a lot faster in the next couple of years. There's some big factories coming up in Georgia that they received a lot of funding from the federal government. It's only going to get better.
The industry conventions must be bananas. Frank, I really want to thank you for taking time to visit with us today. The 30 minutes went just like this.
I know.
It's
I know.
unbelievable. And
We just got started.
because Rachel doesn't let us speak more. She should. Please just say your phone number out loud, please. So
The number is 305-330-6868.
330-6868.
330-6868.
All right.
And you can give us a call anytime, even if it's any kind of questions. One thing you're not going to get from us, if you give us a call, is it's going to be a sales pitch. We are here to educate the consumer and let them understand all the benefits of going solar.
So with that, once again, we're at the end. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Frank. And come back to South-Dade, where it's fun to work, live, play, and thrive.